All right, let's jump right into one of the most, well, counterintuitive ideas from Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. It's a concept that pretty much goes against everything we're ever taught about friendship and loyalty. It suggests that when you're trying to build something, your friends might actually be your biggest liability, and your enemies, they could be your greatest strength. Sounds crazy, right?
I mean, we've all heard this quote from Abraham Lincoln. It's beautiful. It's the ideal we all strive for, turning enemies into friends, conflict into peace. And you know what? In most parts of life, it's absolutely the right way to go.
But, and this is a big but, in the world of power, that kind of thinking can be totally fatal. So what actually happens when you put your trust, your career, your very survival in the hands of a friend? To really get a feel for the stakes, we're going to look at two emperors who faced this exact problem. They took completely different paths and ended up with wildly different results.
So our first stop is a cautionary tale from the Byzantine Empire, way back in the 9th century. This is the story of a young emperor, Michael III, and his best friend, a guy who owed him literally everything. Okay, so picture this. Michael's a young emperor. He's in way over his head, and he's surrounded by sharks who want his throne. He desperately needs someone he can trust. Now, he had options, like his uncle Bardas, who was incredibly smart and capable. But did he pick him? Nope. He went for comfort. He chose his best friend, Basilius, a former stable boy who'd once saved his life. He picked friendship over foresight, and that was his first mistake.
And just look at how this spirals out of control. Michael takes Basilius from nothing and just showers him with gifts, power, and incredible education. He basically creates him. But here's the crazy part. Every gift, every promotion, it doesn't build gratitude. It just feeds this monster of ambition. Basilius first talks Michael into killing his own capable uncle. And then, in the ultimate betrayal, he has Michael murdered in his sleep and takes the throne for himself. He seized the power that his best friend had handed to him.
So the fatal mistake here was all psychological. Michael thought a single act of loyalty meant a lifetime of it. He gave Basilius so much that the kindness itself became a burden. It became suffocating. So Basilius started to resent it, and he told himself a new story, that he'd earned it all himself. Michael thought he was looking at a friend, but all he was really seeing was a reflection of his own generosity. He was completely blind, right up to the very end. Okay, so that's what not to do. Now let's flip the script and travel to 10th century China. A new emperor, Emperor Song, has the exact same problem. His court is full of so-called friends who are really just wolves in sheep's clothing. But unlike Michael, his strategy was completely different.
For centuries, Chinese history had been this brutal, bloody cycle. A general gets his army buddies together, they kill the emperor, take over, and then usually kill each other. Being the emperor meant you were the most powerful guy in the room, but also the least secure. Emperor Song knew he was next on the chopping block unless he could break that pattern for good. And what he did next was pure genius. He throws this huge banquet for all his most dangerous generals, his friends. But instead of poisoning their wine, he makes them an offer they can't refuse. He basically says, look guys, I know you all want my job, but that life is full of anxiety and fear. So how about this? Give up your power and I'll give you huge estates, more money than you can spend, and you can live out your days in peace and luxury. The next day, they all quit. He turned a pack of wolves into happy, retired lambs without a single drop of blood. And this gets to the very heart of the law. His so-called friends, the generals, they felt entitled. They felt like he owed them power. But a former enemy, they expect the axe. So when you spare them, when you show them mercy and give them a job, they have everything to prove. They are grateful for every bit of kindness because they never expected it in the first place. So, okay, we've got these two incredible stories, right? One ends in disaster, the other in a 300-year dynasty. But what's really going on under the hood here, psychologically? Why is a friend so often more dangerous than a converted enemy? Let's break it down. Let's just look at this side by side. Think about honesty. With a friend, you often soften the truth because you don't want to hurt their feelings. An enemy has no problem telling you exactly what's wrong with your plan. But the big one is motivation. A friend sees your success and can secretly become envious. A former enemy you've brought on board, their motivation is to prove that your faith in them wasn't a mistake. And this right here is the real poison in the dynamic. Ingratitude. When you hire a friend, there's always this unspoken awkwardness. Did they get the job because they were the best or because they're your friend? And to make themselves feel better, to relieve that pressure, they often start to convince themselves, no, I totally earned this. I deserved it all along. And just like that, the gratitude is gone, replaced by resentment.
Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? How do you actually use this ancient and kind of harsh wisdom in your own life? When you're deciding who to trust, who to bring into your inner circle.
Well, it's pretty ironic, isn't it? The very things that make a friendship so wonderful, the comfort, the casualness, the lack of formality, are the exact things that can make it a disaster in a professional setting. You need blunt honesty, not just someone who agrees with you. You need distance to make hard choices. Ultimately, you have to prioritize skill and competence over those warm, friendly feelings. Voltaire absolutely nailed it with this quote. Think about it. An enemy is a known threat. They're out in the open. You can watch them, you can prepare, you can defend yourself. But the danger from a friend, that comes from inside the walls. It's the Trojan horse you willingly let into your life. The one threat you never see coming because you're blinded by affection.
So you might be thinking, does this mean I can never, ever work with a friend? Well, not exactly. It's not that black and white. So let's look at how to apply this today. And more importantly, when you might actually want to break this rule.
The bottom line, the core principle is this. You have to learn to detach your emotions from your decisions. You have to ask a simple, cold, calculated question. Who is the absolute best person to help me achieve my goals? It's about judgment, not feelings. Now, there are a few exceptions. A trusted friend can be perfect for a really sensitive job, something that requires absolute secrecy. And yeah, some ruthless leaders have used a friend as a scapegoat, a brutal move that destroys the friendship, but it happens. But even if you do bring a friend in, there's a crucial rule. You can never, ever let your guard down. You have to constantly be watching for the smallest signs of envy or ingratitude, because in the world of power, nothing stays friendly forever. And that really brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. An enemy breathing down your neck keeps you sharp. It keeps you on your toes. Without rivals, we get lazy and complacent. So think about your own life, your own circle. Are you surrounding yourself with people who just nod along and tell you what you want to hear? Or are you seeking out the people who challenge you, who push you, who dare to disagree? The answer to that question might just define your entire future.